And I say this because the climate crisis is not passive. The climate crisis is not a result of natural disasters. It's actually man-made. It's a result of...
Say it again, because I think they missed it.
The climate crisis is man-made. And it's not just man-made, it's white man-made. It is a result of capitalism, years of colonialism, years of racial oppression. And so, if you want to get involved, the way that we save our planet is when we protect the most vulnerable communities among us. And this includes Black trans women. This includes indigenous peoples. And this is why it includes children and young folk. Because when we protect them, then we can protect everybody else. All right?
Those damn white guys. What are they responsible for now? Hold on, I gotta check the notes here. It's getting calm. Oh, they're making it too hot. Oh, thank you, I guess. Okay. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name is Luke Rudowski here of WeAreChange.org, and there's a lot of absolutely dumb and ridiculous news to get into today, as of course the situation is not all right in the West and only going to get a lot more crazier from here, especially in places like the Middle East, where the geopolitical situation is becoming more and more tumultuous. There's no real winners here. Lots of losers, lots of craziness as the Biden administration keeps moving forward with a lot of their absolutely reckless and dangerous policies that, of course, make the Middle East just that much more of a dangerous place for you, me, and the rest of the world. We're going to be talking about that, plus all the latest news happening right now on this independent media broadcast. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you could get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast is actually a UN climate advisor that is trying to link natural disasters and white guys. White guys that, let's just be honest here, I'll bet my bottom dollar she probably really loves to date, even though she believes they're bringing us to the verge of extinction. This, as her social media is filled with a bunch of really crazy racist remarks, as very interestingly, she also claims to be an anti-racist. It's interesting how that works there. And that's the type of people and tomfoolery you could expect within, of course, the Biden administration as well, that loves to virtue signal that they are very woke, as in many instances they bow down and acquiesce to the Chinese totalitarian government that is essentially allowed to do whatever they want to do. As of course, China increasing the amount of factories that they have, increasing coal production, literally buying trash from countries like Canada and just dumping it straight into the ocean while they told them they were going to recycle it for a fair price. Someone should tell this Aisha Siddiqui about that here, but that might be a little bit too much for her to comprehend and handle, as she fetishizes white guys as some of the true evils of this world. All of this as today we got news that Joe Biden actually held a call with Xi Jinping discussing very tense issues like the fentanyl that keeps being made in China and being introduced into the local populations here in the United States that is wreaking havoc and absolutely destroying an entire population of people. As the two political leaders also allegedly talked about Taiwan, artificial intelligence, election interference, and of course, probably all the technology that China has been stealing as their bootleg business has been booming as of late. All of this as a lot of Chinese nationals keep making their way into the United States without even being questioned or asked what in the world are they doing on the southern border of the United States, as the Biden administration has been literally flying in hundreds of thousands of migrants. This as federal intelligence agencies are literally warning about major disastrous events that could be a result of these very reckless policies that, of course, don't take our security seriously at all. This as we're finding out that 30,000 undocumented illegal immigrants are transferred all throughout the United States each month, as states like Texas, Florida, New York, and California are receiving the majority of these migrants, leaving many people asking the question, what in the world is going on here, and why are we paying for the larger replacement of our population? Why, when resources aren't really available for the local population, are we spending more on people that the Biden administration keeps incentivizing and organizing to come into this country? This, as in some places like New York City, lawlessness and criminality are literally being normalized, as now a New York City business owner is coming out and speaking out against the politicians who refuse to crack down on violent shoplifters, as business owners in New York City that are struggling to survive independently are describing a situation where it is, quote, an open season on retail workers who face the brunt of violent criminals that the city refuses to do anything about. This, as Democratic lawmakers in the city keep fighting for criminals to be able to have their way with the local population. As New York City Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie has come out and decided to stand with criminals, as he is now refusing to support any kind of law that would increase penalties on violent shoplifters. This, along with a woke district attorney and disenfranchised police officers who routinely are told not to do their job because of racial equity quotas, many times than not just choose not to do their jobs. But don't worry, the government has a solution to all of this, as they are going to keep you safe by creating a cashless society where they could track, tax, and database every single little move and transaction that you make. As of course, there is now an International Day of Pay in Cash Day in Australia, as the government there, working with the banks, has been making very incredulous moves, eviscerating liberty and privacy in that country, who are working together trying to abolish cash outright. All, of course, for your safety and security, because, you know, those criminals that many Democratic leftist politicians let loose on the streets are out there, and that's why the Democratic leftist politicians that want to take away your cash and ability to be private will have the perfect solution for you that also enslaves you just a little bit more, almost as if it was a calculated plan from the very beginning. As of course, that's not the only criminal enterprise running amok right now, as it has just been revealed that Facebook sold users' private messages to Netflix for over $100 million. But don't worry, this is all so you could get the latest recommendations of propaganda that fit to your own personal liking. Yes, now your private dong pics and DMs are going to be known to a lot of Netflix employees that now will be able to tailor your content in just the perfect fine-tuned way for the best psychological experimentation on all of its unsuspecting users that think that they are watching entertainment. And while these individuals do not respect your privacy, we do on LukeUnfiltered.com, our own website, where, of course, we have a secret, not-so-secret society of people that are building a community and trying to better themselves. As, of course, we have 10-plus years of content, all on LukeUnfiltered.com, centered around individual health journeys, centered around diet, health, exercise, sleep, stress management, you name it, we address it, all on LukeUnfiltered.com. If you sign up for $15, you also get 3 incredible jam-packed masterclasses with nearly 200-plus videos, tutorials teaching you a lot of very important skills. The Apocalypse Survival one, really awesome. You could download it with a click of one button, just in case the grid goes down, and you could have really important how-to tutorial videos on just how to survive almost any kind of situation. We also have the expating travel hacking masterclass that teaches you about second residencies and also how to essentially travel the world for free. And then, of course, we have Change Media University that teaches you to do what we are doing right now, and, of course, providing an alternative independent media viewpoint that you could curate and make yourself, all through Change Media University, that has a lot of homework and guides you through a lot of these very important classes that you guys should check out. We also have a forum where people could talk to each other, and we're doing an in real life hike in about 2 weeks from now where you get to participate in it, as we're going to be doing a really cool experience. We're going to be, of course, sitting down, breaking bread, going for a walk. You guys could bring whatever you want. It's a huge park. It's going to be a lot of fun, and of course, you guys get to participate in that just by signing up to lukeunfiltered.com. By the way, we're going to be doing another really awesome, incredible podcast episode later on today, 6 p.m. Eastern. Yesterday, we had the Health Nut. We had Ivory Heckler on. Today, we got some really awesome, incredible people coming in studio. You guys get to be a part of that conversation by being able to call in and ask whatever you want, all through, of course, your memberships on lukeunfiltered.com. Sign up now. It's more crucial than ever. Click the link down in the description below. Signing up. It's quick, it's easy, it's simple, and we need you guys to do it now more than ever, as we work very hard to provide you the most offers of value all through lukeunfiltered.com. This, as inside of the United States, the situation is getting a little bit tumultuous, as of course there's now a larger debate about whether or not we should be financing the larger proxy war in Ukraine. This, as Biden already is financing another proxy war inside of the Middle East, as he's facing a lot of tough criticism for his larger support of Israel during their larger fight against the Palestinians in Gaza. This, as the Biden administration has just announced that they are going to be giving a significant taxpayer discount and giving Israel 50 F-15 fighter jets for just $18 billion, one of the biggest arms sales to Tel Aviv since the start of the war against Hamas. As, of course, a lot of these savings come to the detriment of American taxpayers that originally paid for these fighter jets. All of this as the Israeli government has been becoming more and more aggressive, especially with their military might and use of it, as the prime minister of that country just had to apologize for conducting an airstrike that took the life of an American and 6 other aid workers that were trying to help the local population in that specific region. As an organization called the World Central Kitchen had its staff obliterated in an Israeli airstrike that took out this charity organization that was there on the ground trying to help the people deal with the entire war zone that a huge population was thrown into. This, as the IDF has confirmed that their airstrike was the one responsible for taking out these charity workers. This, as Israel is being accused more and more of indiscriminately going after hospital workers, civilians, and a lot of innocent bystanders that are being caught up in their larger war against Hamas in the region. This, as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom declared that questions need answering over this latest attack on an aid convoy, where most likely American tax-paying dollars paid for the munitions and bombs that were dropped on these young human beings that lost their lives prematurely. All of this is also happening as Israel has decided to launch significant military strikes in Syria, specifically targeting Iranian targets, as an Iranian embassy was struck by Israel that took the lives of 2 very prominent Iranian generals. All of this is happening as Iran now is vowing to punish Israel for these larger attacks on their own military personnel inside of Syria, which some people are calling an unprovoked attack. All of this as Ben Shapiro of the Daily Wire took to social media to retweet other individuals that are comparing this attack to what Iran did many, many decades ago, as if there's some kind of comparison here when there's not. As one user that Ben Shapiro retweeted tried to say that this was similar to how Iran took over the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, again, near I think it was like 70 plus years ago now. Again, that's not really a comparison to blowing up an embassy in Syria, which the Israeli government did, which looks like Ben Shapiro is trying to excuse. This, as he also retweeted another user, Richard Hanani, tried to justify the attacks by saying that the strikes were targeting leadership of Palestinian groups. As, of course, it's important to note here, they bombed an embassy. Okay, that's a pretty big deal. That's a significant deal. As Ben Shapiro retweeted an account that said that the attacks were, quote, brave and bold, and that the United States needs to back Israel completely during these key moments and times that, of course, are leading us into a larger war that Candace Owens, the former employee of the Daily Wire, spoke out against as she took to Twitter and says, quote, "Can't say enough how obvious it is that war against Iran and Russia has been plotted by the elite. America must resist this. There is no reason that we need to go to war with Iran or Russia outside of imperializing on behalf of other nations while crippling our own." As, of course, a lot of people overwhelmingly agreed with the sentiments of Candace Owens here, as it's fair to criticize that the calls and stance by the Daily Wire and especially Ben Shapiro aren't really prioritizing America or its interests at all. This, as even Megyn Kelly recently in an interview with Ben Shapiro criticized him on air, saying that there's only free speech at the Daily Wire until it comes to Israel, with this very interesting exchange.
Into a debate about whether the Daily Wire is pro-free speech. The accusation is you are until it comes to Israel. How do you respond?
We have a wide variety of positions on Israel right now inside the Daily Wire. Matt Walsh, obviously, is another one of the hosts at the Daily Wire. He and I wildly disagree about what America's Israel policy should be. Matt is much more isolationist. He basically believes the United States has no real interests in the Middle East, and thus the United States should not be providing material support to anyone, including the state of Israel. The Daily Wire is a publisher, not a platform. I would never call for anyone to be ousted from an actual platform, X, YouTube. Even people who are, I think, absolutely horrific human beings, I've never called for any of them to be ousted. In fact, I've called for them to have their accounts restored if they've been banned. That's not the same thing when it comes to publishers. Publishers obviously have to decide what sort of things they wish to pay for the publication of. And when it comes to, hosts and publishers, parting ways, obviously there'll be a non-meeting of the minds. That's pretty much all I can say.
This, as of course, there has been a lot of controversy, especially at the Daily Wire, as internal email leaks do highlight a very kind of suspicious situation where it does kind of highlight the possibility that Candace Owens was recently fired because she wasn't kind of falling in line when it comes to the overall consensus that overwhelmingly Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire kind of stand for. All of this as there's even representatives on the Daily Wire that are linking the phrase "Christ is King" to, quote, alleged hatred of the Israeli people, which, again, it's a gross extrapolation, an absolute stretch to say the least. And as Ben Shapiro has previously argued, there needs to be an Overton window, and it needs to be shut sometimes in order to deal with extremism, which, again, I absolutely disagree with, as of course we believe here in free speech, even for the people that we disagree with, as it is interesting to see individuals like Matt Walsh, who also is a part of the Daily Wire, address a lot of the larger attacks against free speech by his fellow co-workers that are calling for new rules and new laws limiting it, all in favor of a special group of individuals that some people at the Daily Wire believe shouldn't be criticized or held accountable at all for their actions. As of course, Matt Walsh's latest video about Texas's new executive order, which he says is a huge step backwards for free speech, is actually a pretty awesome video that you guys should check out. As of course, it is important to note that there is some dissenting point of views expressed by the Daily Wire, but overall, as an entire organization, it is very interesting to see their position on Ukraine be almost the same exact kind of position against Israel. As of course, here on this independent media organization, we are staunchly anti-war, and we don't really flip-flop on our morals or values dependent on emotional kind of situations. And if you appreciate that, share this video with your friends and family members. It is more imperative than ever. Subscribe, click the notification button, and maybe the YouTube overlords might sometimes show you our videos. As of course, we're going to be going live in just a few hours from now with another 2-hour podcast. You guys get to be a part of it. Another video coming your way right now on LukeUnfiltered.com. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys, and this is why. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on LukeUnfiltered.com. We are change.org, but you get it. You got one more video coming there right now. Love you guys. Stay tuned for more.